Hello and welcome to another video with me, Rauchenwald. Now in today's video I'm going to show you how the KYC verification works within TimeStope. Now for that I've already opened up TimeStope, as you can see on my phone right here. I'm going to share the screen with you guys there. And you might be wondering why we have to do the KYC verification again, and the answer to that is because apparently with the previous methods that TimeStope used, some users were able to basically scam the system, so verify accounts by using purchased selfie pictures and so on. So basically verifying multiple accounts, although they are only one human being. And that's why the TimeStope team decided to reset the KYC verification for all users, so everybody has to do it again. And where previously the requirement to be eligible for the KYC verification was to have a certain amount of attendance score, so 200 or 300 in attendance score, as you can see right now, the requirements actually changed, and you need to either have 5 gems with 300 or more attendance score points, or you can purchase a fast KYC verification, or you can complete 5 offer wall events, which likely will take you either a lot of time or also require you to spend some money in third-party apps. And the fourth option to be able to complete the KYC verification is coming only in November, and that would be to basically use PayPal to submit a very small amount to TimeStope, which will then, assuming your PayPal account is verified, verify your real name and your email address, which will not replace the KYC verification, but will only then allow you to complete the KYC verification. In addition to that, within the TimeStope app, there are also a few notes regarding the KYC verification. Obviously, only one account is available for KYC verification per person. That's the whole purpose of the verification, that each human being can only have one TimeStope account. Also quite obvious, the method that TimeStope is using for KYC verification is something they developed, so you cannot just steal their user flow and so on. The third note on the list is actually answering why you should and have to complete the KYC verification. Well, obviously from a TimeStope perspective, it's to make sure each user only has one account. But for you as a user, only once you get KYC verified will you be able to stope your time. You will be able to transfer assets. So once your account is KYC verified, you basically are able to use TimeStope's currency, so-called Tau, to actually trade with other users, because somebody could say, okay, I'm gonna sell you my Xbox for, I don't know, 10,000 Tau. So you could then send those Tau to that user and he could then send you his Xbox, for example. So without passing the KYC verification, you will not be able to transfer your time, which means it's technically worthless until you pass the KYC verification. And last but not least, it also mentions tokenizing is only available once you do that. Last but not least, if the TimeStope team detects that you basically used someone else's ID to try to pass the KYC verification, well, then the account will be banned immediately and you basically will not be able to use TimeStope again. And with all of that clarified, we can jump into the actual KYC verification by pressing the back icon in the top left corner to get back to the home screen. And since I already have more than 300 in attendance score, as you can see in the top left corner here, the easiest way for me to be allowed to submit my KYC verification is actually by getting the 5 gems, which I can do by going to the home screen. And there in the top left corner, you can see 2 icons. One looks a little bit like a paw and the other one looks like a rocket. Now, if I would press the rocket, it would basically offer me to pay roughly $5 for the fast KYC, which would allow me to perform the KYC verification. Or if I go back here and I press the paw icon, you can see that I need to collect 5 jewels, which I can do by watching 5 ads. I'm gonna do that right now, but I'm obviously gonna blur the ads and fast forward so you don't have to endure watching the ads like I have to do right now. And as you can see in the left top corner, the paw icon now has those 5 jewels inside because I've finished watching the 5 ads. When I press it again, you can see it tells me that I'm now basically eligible to register for Action KYC. So I'm gonna press the Action KYC button. And the first thing we see is that we actually have to accept the terms of use for KYC action. Now I'm going to scroll slowly through those terms so you can read them if you want, and then I'm actually going to read them, but I'm going to fast forward that part for all of you guys so that you don't have to read them if you don't want, and I will obviously summarize what I consider or deem important. Okay, so I finished reading the terms. They're actually quite straightforward. All the important parts are, first of all, that when you pass or when you submit your data for the KYC verification, that data will be stored, and TimeStope will use machine learning to re-verify data over time. So you might pass your KYC verification today, but if you didn't use an eligible document, for example, and in the future the computer re-verifies your account, it might be that you then get unverified again. It's, in my opinion, highly unlikely if you provide proper data, and might only affect users that try to scam the KYC verification. Additionally to that, TimeStope, or the terms of use, mention that TimeStope does not guarantee a value for its assets, which makes sense. They cannot guarantee that their time actually will ever have a value, but that they will do their best to ensure that it has a reasonable value. And other than that, it just highlights other parts that we already know, that in order to be able to own and transfer time units, so tau or S-time and so on, you'll actually have to pass the KYC verification. So in order to move on, we'll have to agree to the terms and press accept. And the first thing we'll have, please take a picture according to the picture above. You must take the same action in case of any other action. KYC verification will not be possible and your application will be unverified. That's the one thing that I hated the first time I did the KYC verification, because it required to blink with the right eye and I can only blink with the left eye for whatever reason. Weird detail to know about me, but still, let's see what I'll have to do. First of all, I obviously have to remove my cap, so for a change you'll get to see my messy hair. Now let's press next here and go here, look in the camera, thumbs, yeah, like it's a little bit tricky. Was the picture taken correctly? Yeah, I'm not looking nice on it, but what can you do? Let's go next. Selfie with the ID card, so in a solid background, face must be recognized and do not reflect light. I'll obviously am going to blur parts of that because you should not see the details of my ID, but I'm gonna use my passport here and I need to switch hands because I should be able to cover everything but the picture apparently here, which should be like this. Yeah, that should work. Yeah, and let's see if we can get that work. It's a little bit tricky to film and do those things at the same time. So it has me, it has the ID, and yeah, that should be fine, I guess. So next, select ID type, select the ID you want to verify. Only passport, resident registration card, driver's license can be selected and other IDs cannot be used. Now, that's a little bit confusing, to be honest, because there is now no selection of the ID type, because we only select which side. So let's select side 1. Okay, so please take a photo aligning your ID with top and bottom lines. It basically, and it actually mentions, like, just for those of you who are worried, you're allowed to cover the ID number, and which also means if you're using a passport, you might notice that at the bottom you have like some random characters, or which appear random to you or semi-random. All that information at the bottom you can also blur if you want, or put some paper on top of it, because although that information at the bottom of your passport is actually machine readable code, and it contains all the information that's visible on top. So it also contains your passport ID, your name, your birth date, and everything else. But yeah, let's try this again real quick. So again, gonna juggle here with the phone a little bit and go here. God, I hate stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, although the preview here shows it in the wrong perspective, I actually took the picture the way they wanted to, so I'm gonna say next here. And I'm curious what they want with side 2, because it's a passport, so there is technically no side 2, there would be the cover, but let's see. All procedures have been completed successfully, KYC action, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so there's no side 2 needed. Maybe it recognized that it was a passport and that's why it doesn't ask for a side 2. Maybe if you're using a driving license instead, it would actually ask you to take pictures of both sides. So that's something I cannot answer for you because I used my passport, as you just saw. And the important part here, however, is that it will now take some time. Like, you could expect that it will take at least 2 weeks to actually finish the verification. So the last thing I have to do here is just press the confirm button, and then basically I guess I'll just have to wait. Now, I honestly don't remember if I already said that in this video, so I'm just gonna say it again. As you know, usually when I record a video about KYC verification, I actually include the part where it then shows that I've been verified. However, considering that this verification might take 2 weeks or maybe even longer, I'm not going to do this here. I promise, however, if I have any problem with the KYC verification, I get declined or there's some other issue, that I will provide a follow-up video. Either way, you now know how you can apply for the KYC verification. First of all, make sure to confirm your attendance every day until you have a score of 300. Then watch 5 ads and then go through the KYC verification and follow the instructions. And after that, just wait until the team gets back to you, so until your account is verified, or they let you know for whichever reason you haven't been verified, and then follow the instructions on the screen again. And that's all there is to the KYC verification for now. The last thing I want to point out here, which maybe I might have or should have included earlier in the video, is obviously when we looked at the KYC verification, for example, for Pi Network, who uses Yoti for that part, or we looked at the KYC verification from B Network, who also used a third-party provider, or High Dollars, who are also using a third-party provider, TimeStope actually falls out of line because they are actually doing it in-house. So where all those other projects are using certified third-party providers, TimeStope actually takes a huge risk, in my opinion, because they are actually getting all that ID information, and as mentioned, they're also storing them to use machine learning to re-verify that data. Now, why I personally didn't blur anything in my passport, because I'm honestly not super worried about the value of the information of my passport. You should probably definitely do that if you're worried about data. Why am I still going through the KYC verification, although they are not using a trusted third-party provider? The answer to that is because TimeStope itself is a very transparent project. You can visit the TimeStope website, you can look at the entire team behind the project, the in-house team, as well as external team members that are kind of like more like ambassadors. And while obviously in their messaging, their translations to English are not super perfect, and which kind of like I wish would be something they improve, overall, they are doing, in my opinion, a great job and making a lot of progress. So I have a certain level of trust to the project itself. If you don't trust the project, you don't trust the company, you don't think that TimeStope will ever be worth anything, well then maybe consider not undergoing the KYC verification and simply removing the TimeStope app from the list of applications on your phone. But as said, for me, I'm fine with the way it's handled, simply because of the transparency that's shown in other aspects of the project. That's it. If you have any questions whatsoever, simply leave them in the comments down below. However, if you don't pass the KYC verification or so, don't bother asking in the comments for why. I'm not working for TimeStope. I can't help you with that. You will have to reach out to their support directly to figure out why you didn't pass. But other than that, you can pretty much ask anything TimeStope related down in the comments below. Or even better, if you join our Discord community, which you can, by the way, do by using the link in the description or the first pinned comment down below. There we have a dedicated TimeStope channel, and on top of that we also have daily giveaways where you can win a couple of dollars worth of Bitcoin every day simply for being an active community member. So it's definitely in your interest to join that community as well, because it's really the best place to stay in touch with me and other community members, and on top of that, as said, win a few dollars worth of Bitcoin here and there for being active. Thanks for watching. See you in one of my other videos. Till then, bye bye.